We will be comparing indoor Wi-Fi cameras on their window mounts. We have the Blink Mini, we have the Eufy C24, we have the Wyze Cam V3, and the Wyze Cam OG. And we'll be comparing it to the Panasonic Home Hawk Window, which is only designed to be installed on a window. And in the end, I'm gonna rank them and see which one will be the best setup. Well, let's find out. Hello guys, LifeHackster here. Today, we will compare the video quality of indoor Wi-Fi cameras that have window mounts. If you don't know this yet, this setup is the cheapest and the easiest setup that you can do to monitor the outside of your home. And this without drilling holes or screwing anything to your house. And I'm pretty sure every house has some type of glass windows. I made several videos on this, and I actually have a playlist of indoor Wi-Fi cameras through glass window setup, which I will link down below. And the main purpose of this, aside from getting the camera close to the window, is that it prevents reflection glare. There are 4 camera brands that we are going to look at today, and Wyze has 2 of them that have these mounting options. And on their V3, this is a Wyze branded window mount. And there is also an aftermarket mount for their Wyze Cam OG. Then we have the Blink with their Blink Mini, and this is an aftermarket mount also. And we have the Eufy C24 Indoor Cam, and it also has an aftermarket mount. And lastly, we will compare it to the pricier Panasonic Window Home Hawk, which is the only camera that is just made to be installed in a window. I will link all these cameras and their mounts in the description down below. Now in this video, we'll mainly focus on their video quality in daytime and at night with no lights and also with supplemental lights. With these brands, the Wyze and the Blink, if you want to get all the features of the cameras, then you will need a subscription. Now there's some nuances in here, like if you are grandfathered in or if you add the sync module 2 plus a thumb drive for the Blink, you will have local recording and no subscription needed. But there's some compromises. With the Wyze, if you want smart detection and notifications, then a subscription is needed. The Eufy and the Panasonic Home Hawk Window, on the other hand, will have all the camera features without needing a subscription. As for recording, the Wyze, Eufy, and Panasonic records locally to a microSD card, and the Blink records to the cloud, but can also record locally with a separate purchase of the sync module 2. And the Blink Mini is the only one that doesn't have an option for 24/7 recording. Wyze, Eufy, and Panasonic can be set to record continuously to their microSD cards. Let's check the video quality. And because these cameras are behind glass, you will barely hear the audio. The Eufy C24 records in 2K quality, 2304 by 1296 pixel resolution at 15 frames per second, and has a 125-degree diagonal field of view. And this is what it looks like at 20 feet, 25, and at 30 feet zoomed in. As for running snapshot, this is what it looks like. The Panasonic Home Hawk Window records in 1080p at 30 frames per second and has a wider 150-degree diagonal field of view. And this is what it looks like at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, zoomed in at 30, and this is the running snapshot. Next would be the Wyze Cam V3. 1080p at 20 frames per second and has a 130 degrees diagonal field of view. 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, zoomed in at 30 feet, and the running snapshot. Next will be the Wyze Cam OG, 1080p at 20 frames per second and has a 121.4 degrees diagonal field of view. At 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, zoomed in at 30, and running snapshot. Then we have the Blink Mini, recording in 1080p at 30 frames per second, and with a 110-degree diagonal field of view. This is at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, zoomed in at 30 feet, and running snapshot. Alright, we are going to compare the notification speeds between these window-mounted indoor cameras. So we have the Blink Mini, the Panasonic Home Hawk, the Eufy C24 indoor camera, and 2 Wyzes, the Wyze Cam OG and the V3. I'm on my LTE connection and it is 351. Let's check it out. Who's the fastest? I think it's the Blink because it doesn't have rich notifications. Nope. Actually, the Blink is the slowest. You saw that? So all of them, the Wyzes will have snapshot previews. Same thing with the Eufy, same thing with the Home Hawk, and the Blink doesn't have it. And I have early detection turned on. 352. All right, it just turned 353, but it is still less than a minute. Let's see what the notification cool-offs on these cameras. Now Blink is first. They're all pretty quick. Now the Blink is first on this time. Cool. As to nighttime quality, the Wyze Cam V3, the OG, and the Panasonic Home Hawk have low light sensors, so they can see a bit better at night with just ambient lights from the neighbors. But with this type of setups though, I really do recommend some type of lighting outside, because even with their low light sensors, there's just a lot of motion blur. Eufy and the Blink Mini have regular sensors, so the footage is just too dark. But Blink here is worse than the Eufy. Now with camera overlooking through glass window setup, at night you need to turn off any infrared lights and night vision on your cameras, because if it is on, then you will get the infrared glare, which will make the camera footage unusable. So for the cameras to be able to see, I recommend some type of lighting outside, either on a timer or motion activated to help out with the video quality and also the detection of the cameras at night. With the Eufy and with my backyard lights on, video quality is pretty decent, and this is at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, 30. With the Panasonic Home Hawk, which records at 30 frames per second in daytime, goes down to 15 FPS at night, even with the lights on. And the Home Hawk doesn't have audio recording at all. This is at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, and 30. With the Wyze Cam V3, still records at 20 frames per second, and this is at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, 30. Same thing with the Wyze Cam OG, still recording at 20 FPS, at 10 feet, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now with the Blink Mini, it also lowers down from 30 FPS to 15 at night, even with the lights on. Also, it only records a max of 30 seconds per event, so this clip will only record up to 25 feet. This is at 10 feet, 15, 20, and 25. So what do you think? As to daytime video quality, all of them are pretty good. Eufy records in higher resolution 2K quality compared to the rest, which are in 1080p, but only at 15 frames per second. And you will see that the recording is not as smooth as the Wyze Cams, which records at 20 FPS, and the Blink Mini and the Panasonic at 30 FPS. At night, this is where the low-light cameras like the Wyze Cam V3, OG, and the Panasonic have an advantage from Eufy and the Blink. But if there is some type of supplemental lighting though, which I highly recommend, then the Eufy and the Blink will hold its own. As to ranking these camera setups, I can tell you that the Blink Mini will be the last, just because it cannot record 24/7, no smart person detection, and video quality at night is not good even with lighting, and no rich notifications. And also for a plug-in camera, I have no idea why Blink limited its recording to only 30 seconds per event. Their battery-powered Blink outdoor cam can be set to record up to a minute. Why not the Mini? Next will be the Panasonic Home Hawk. It is just because it is more expensive. And also they didn't add a mic or audio on this camera. I know you could barely hear anything on the other cameras as well, but at least if you have audio recording, you can hear something that is out of the camera's view or any sounds inside the house, just in case someone is able to get in. Next would probably be the Wyze Cam V3. Its video quality is not as good as the OG, especially at night. There is more motion blur compared to the OG. Decent both with lights on and with just ambient lights. Plus the Wyze Cams needs a subscription to use all the camera's features. So the Eufy C24 Indoor Cam is the better option, just as long as you have some type of lighting on where you're pointing it at. No subscription needed, making it the cheapest setup that you can do if you're wanting a camera through window setup. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.